All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my first Star Wars minifigure review of this channel. Today we're just gonna be, as I said, going through some minifigures, and yeah, today we're doing Force-sensitive people. So anyone who like Sith, Jedi, anyone in between. And just a disclaimer. This universe I've created, well, modified, it is the Star Wars universe, but I've kind of had my own take on stuff. So it's kind of like an alternate universe. So none of this, well, I mean, maybe some of this, but most of this isn't actually canon. I just kind of made shit up for fun. But yeah, anyways, let's get on to the first one. And also, excuse my hands. I have skin peeling for some reason. My hands are really dry. Hold on. Okay. So, first up, we have a character that is based off of Savage Opress. His name is Agon Opress. So basically, Agon, by the way, Opress. So basically, this dude is the Force, right? He's not the chosen one. He just is the Force. This is him. It is it is a, what's it called? A light customs Savage Opress. But I don't know, I added the waistcape and his lightning. So basically, he's like the god of Star Wars. He's the strongest being ever. But he doesn't want to interfere with his creations, so he interacts with them as little as possible. And he has his son, Savage Opress, which I'll get into later. But yeah. Hold on, I'm trying to... Okay, yeah. And speaking of his son, Savage Opress, here is my take on Savage. He has his lightsaber, gold and silver with yellow blades. Oops, next to his father. So basically, Savage is a pseudo-chosen one. He's kind of like... Anakin is still the chosen one, but there is a greater picture than just Anakin, right? And because the Force was unbalanced due to Darth Malgus, who I'll also get into later, he kind of offset the trajectory of the universe and how the story is supposed to go. And I guess I'll do this guy next. This is Ire Opress, I-R-E. This is based off Darth Maul. So this is basically like Agon's brother, essentially. He basically cloned himself into Ire Opress. He uses an Inquisitor style lightsaber. He fell in love with it because you could kind of spin it as a helicopter, and he upgraded it. He upgraded the materials. He used Beskar instead of, like, you know. And he also has cortosis on the outsides. And then his son, Darth Maul. Darth Maul isn't changed too much. You will notice with Savage, he has a helmet. That's because the horn piece is kind of messed up. And here's Darth Maul. Here you go. He has the Dark Trooper helmet, and you can see his... Hold on. You can see his little eyes poking through, which is a cool little detail. It's kind of why I put the helmet on him, because you can see his eyes through the helmet. And I think it looks really intimidating, so... yeah. That's the Opress family. Those four. Oh, I forgot. So actually, I'll get into that later. Yeah. So, anyways, Malgus, the guy who I was talking about earlier. For those who don't know who Malgus is, Darth Malgus, he was an Old Republic Sith. This is normally him. This is not an official Lego minifigure, although I do have the official one. It is not with me right now, but it's upstairs. So that's what Malgus normally looks like. And I only gave him a couple accessories. And Vader arm print. The Darth Vader arm print. Boink. And boink. Okay. So basically, he is trying to achieve immortality, right? He is working with Sidious, quote unquote, although he is just using Sidious as like a public figure, like the face of him, so he doesn't actually have to be publicly known as real, kind of like Plagueis. He killed Plagueis, actually, and stole his apprentice, essentially. So this is him. I just gave him a helmet, and Red Lightning, and the Dark Saber. He works with... Actually, I'll get into that when I do the Mandalorians. I'll get into why he has the Dark Saber in a different video. Here we go. Boom. But yeah. And so these two are constantly fighting. The god is trying to, like, get people to defeat him, Malgus, without him actually having to intervene with it. Because that would kind of go against his rule set. And, yeah. So they fight. Oh, excuse me. They fight every once in a while, and it goes down. But eventually, at the time of the Empire, Malgus and him fight, and he it's kind of like an Obi-Wan versus Anakin fight, except Malgus is Obi-Wan. So they slice him, or wait, hold on. Shoot. I am going to run upstairs and get something real quick. I may or may not edit this out. All right. Now, I'm probably going to forget to edit that out, or just don't care. Okay. This is him in the Age of the Empire. This is Agon. The reason why he, again, the reason why he has these robotics is because Malgus, and he also has a helmet. It's kind of a knight style helmet. So I'll keep him without his helmet for now. Come on. Stay put. Hold up. Okay. Okay, next on the list is Emperor Palpatine himself. Now, Palpatine's story is kind of similar to canon. He orchestrated the Clone War, and he kind of, manipulated everyone. And when the Empire rose, he was kind of used by Malgus as, again, like the face of the Empire, but kind of like the what's it called? British royalty. They're kind of like a figurehead. That's what I'm looking for. So this is just a Palpatine, nothing entirely crazy. We'll finish off with the Sith, I guess. These guys aren't technically Sith, although Maul is debatable and Savage. Maul and Savage are debatable if they're Sith, but then we have Malgus's actual apprentice, or more so friend, Darth Maltor. So he was an old Republic trooper who figured out he had Force abilities, but they weren't very strong at first. And so when he tried to forge his blade, he cracked the crystal, kind of like Kylo Ren. And so that is why it is all crackly. And then he has his helmet. To follow up with the Old Republic theme, we have Darth Nihilus. Now, Darth Nihilus remains pretty much the same, except one key factor. One of the reasons Malgus was able to get so powerful is he basically, his red lightning can force steal, so he can steal others' force ability through his lightning and absorb it into himself, and that's what he did to Malgus. Oh yeah, and also there's another head for Agon Oppress. But yeah, he did that. And then with another very strong dark side force user, he did that too, is the Son, the Mortis Son. He eventually played him too, and then the Mortis gods were not happy. The father wasn't. But it was too late. The daughter and the father were killed by Malgus as well with using the knife that the Son is holding. And next up is Darth Revan. Revan's story is pretty much the same. Come on, Cape. But he also gets killed by Malgus. So a lot of people are getting killed and their force abilities stolen by Malgus. And then next is Malak. Malak was killed by Revan. That stays the same. All right. I think that's all the Old Republic. Oh, yeah. And, yeah. So after Malgus is gone, I will not spoil. Actually, yeah. So these two have a final duel where he transforms back into his prime, basically, and just essentially shoves all his energy into Force, electrocuting Malgus to death, absorbing all his energy back into the Force and redistributing it. Now he didn't die yet. So the first brother, Marok, whatever, I'm going to use his little style of armor as him. This is him after the Empire falls. And both Sidious is killed by old Anakin, and Malgus is killed by Agon the Press. And then there's Dooku. Of course, his story doesn't really change. And then, of course, a Chancellor Palpatine. Just shove that over here. And then a General Grievous. Now, this Grievous is, you may notice it's red. I think that's because it looks cool and no other reason. So he's Force sensitive. But he is eventually killed by Obi-Wan still. And then there's Vader. Now, you might remember me saying old Anakin, right? You're like, how is there an old Anakin and Darth Vader? Well, the cloning recipe that was used on the Kaminoan, or from the Kaminoans used on Jango Fett, Malgus perfected and used on Anakin, but it could only replicate like around half of the user's Force ability, their midichlorian count. So, Darth Vader is half as powerful as Anakin, which is pretty much lore accurate. Excuse me. And then there's Savage, or Ventress. Asajj Ventress, my bad. Do I do a plate wipe? Yeah, I'm going to do a plate wipe. So that's all the dark side and that's all the dark side and medium side, I guess, Force users. The pure users. So I'm going to take them over here. Be very careful not to scratch them. I am very careful with these guys. Especially that custom Savage. Or it would be Agon in my universe. Okay. Sorry. Anyways, on to Anakin Skywalker. This is a very cool custom. Very good, very good. So basically, he doesn't turn to the dark side. But then, what's his name is mad. Malgus is mad. Because he's like, no, we need to have Anakin. So he clones him. And essentially, like, you know, steals some of Anakin's Force power. But before, and this is old Anakin, but before he could do that, he had already had Luke. So Luke was still very powerful. And here is Black Robe Luke. So basically, hold up, where? Here we go. So, the Palpatine's arrest. These four came in, and yes, what's his name? Mace Windu does have Force Lightning, and it's purple. Because I said so. And so these guys all got killed, right? But Anakin decided to help Mace instead of, killing him. Or helping kill him. Malgus didn't like that, so he stabbed Mace Windu. He came out from the shadows, stabbed Mace Windu, shoved him off the building, and then kind of like did the Force steal from Anakin. But he didn't steal all of it. So, by now, Qui-Gon Jinn had been dead. He got killed by Darth Maul still. But Obi-Wan still trained Anakin. But this time... Oh yeah, and tan Anakin. Or, fuck, Obi-Wan. This time, Yoda had more of an influential... And yes, he has a swamp green lightsaber. Anyways, Yoda had more of an influential role on Anakin, teaching him the peace. And guess who else did? So, Plo Koon also had a role to give with Anakin. And then Anakin, of course, had Ahsoka. And then, I don't have a name for this guy, but this is just the Old Republic Jedi Knight, Zabrak. He'll have an important role sometime later. I think it's after the Empire. He's going to be a new Jedi. So, essentially, the first Death Star. It isn't Luke who helps... Or, well, no, it is Luke who blows up the first Death Star. Well, no, wait, isn't that the Millennium Falcon? Yeah, my bad. Or no, that is... No, that's the second Death Star. So, Luke does blow up the first one. But only because Plo Koon blasted open the area and ended up dying. He didn't die in Order 66. He died helping destroy the first Death Star. And Ahsoka was there. And Luke was there. Old Anakin was not. The second Death Star, the final fight between Emperor Palpatine, Luke, and Vader, and all that stupid shit. Old Anakin was there, Vader was there, Palpatine was there, and so was Luke. Now, old Anakin was fighting Palpatine, and he was kind of like easily defending him off. And Palpatine, of course, got bored, right? So he sent Vader to fight Anakin, which would be an easy swoop, because Anakin is old and decrepit. But Anakin swiftly kills Vader without Palpatine noticing, because he's so focused on Luke and trying to turn him. And so Anakin walks up behind him, essentially, and just ignites his saber behind Palpatine's back. Killing him. And then he falls to his knees, and then Anakin picks him up and throws him down the shaft. And then they blow up the Death Star, and everyone lives happily ever after. But yeah, that has been my kind of custom minifigures go through. I will do more, because there are more. These are just the Force sensitives. And I will probably do like a... I don't know, like a Google Doc about the lore, if any of you care. And that will probably be linked in this video. Thank you guys for watching. And yeah. Hold on. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been the first Star Wars minifigure review. It all comes back to him. Agon Opress. I will see y'all later. I think the next one I'll do is just the rest of them. Or no, I'll do bounty hunters and then like troops. So like stormtroopers, clone troopers, stuff like that. And then I will see y'all later. You have a good day and continue being you.